I suppose this same situation is playing itself out throughout the country, but it's kind of sad stuff. It's kind of a sad story to tell. We had an orchard that was a few miles north and about 10 miles east of us, and it changed hands and reopened under new ownership, and the people really tried to make a go out of it, and they had the most beautiful fruit trees. And you could go to this orchard and you could get what we used to call windfalls, which were um, apples that had fallen to the ground. And if you picked through them even just a little bit, they were beautiful. There was no bruises, there was no damage to the apples, and they charged us $1 for a grocery sack, paper grocery sack of beautiful apples, and that was about a half a bushel worth. And you could have canned all the applesauce you wanted for next to nothing, and just a little bit of fuel and a little bit of time. And so I believe that they had pears there, but anyway, they went out of business because not enough people were coming to the orchard. They had beautiful pies. You could just buy pretty much anything there. It was a beautiful country market. They had pumpkins and hay rides, and it was very, very nice. But it's gone out of business. Another one bites the dust, so to speak, and it's been happening all over the country for quite a while now. There was another U-Pick farm about 7 miles south, no, west, southwest, and they had the cutest little kittens in the strawberry patches and little John Deere tractors for the kids to climb on to take pictures, and um, little goats and so forth that you could feed. It was really, really nice. But they went out of business as well because people didn't want to pick vegetables anymore, and they did, or fruit, and they did offer sweet corn and so forth that was already picked. So it's not like you had to pick your own, but they just went out of business, and it was sad. It was a beautiful operation, and now there's a what do they call it? Like an industrial park with nothing built there, just roads and lamp posts, basically. It's really sad. So anyhow, because we had warm weather followed by cold weather in the spring, the fruit crop is not in existence. Sorry, chocolate. Somebody was telling my husband the other day that there's not one cherry in Traverse City this year. We had no cherries on our trees. I think I told you the neighbors had no cherries on their trees. So I was at my local small convenience store that had lots of wonderful food products in it, place I shop all the time. Because of the nature of the information, I'm not going to tell where that was this time, but I thought, well, I would pick up a can of pears and take them home and try them and see if I liked them and go back and buy more or have them order me a case or whatever. And I went to the other food store that I normally go to the other night, and they don't even sell them in 29-ounce cans anymore. They've got them in those jars. They're like 24-ounce jars, and they're not cheap, and they're not pear halves. They're slices now. So anyway, my grocery store had them on sale this week, but a friend of mine just picked me up some. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine just picked me up some up for me. Back to the story, making this way too long. I picked up a can of pears at the store the other day thinking I would take them home and try them. And they were made in China. I thought, let me check out the label and see where these came from. And they were produced and shipped from China to the United States of America. Now, the orchard up the road is basically worthless because the people couldn't make a go of it, and the trees have been left to the bugs and the animals and what have you out there. So, an orchard has to be taken care of, has to be sprayed and taken care of, pruned and sprayed and so forth. And that is no more. So where we used to be able to get apples and peaches and pears and bring them home and can them, and in fact I have bought them out there before and canned them out there, it is no more. And the other place is turned into an industrial park, and there's another place in the next town over that was turned into a housing project. And it is no more. They are no more. So your community is probably suffering through some of the same things, and you have only so many choices about where to get your fruit from. Now this year, because of the weather, we didn't get apples, we didn't get cherries, we didn't get fruit. The lady down the road that we buy farm produce from got 2 pears on her pear tree because of the weather this year. So, where am I going with this? It's nice to have your source of food close to home. So even though we've never had any trouble with the grapes, and we finally got a fairly decent bunch of grapes coming up from the Niagara white grapevine, the crows or the squirrels or something finally figured out that they were there, because overnight everything was gone. I'm sure that they were ready to juice, but they're gone. Somebody ate them. Some living thing ate them. So we will have to protect that next year if we're going to get any produce. However, we do have 3 fruit trees and 2 grapevines with the capacity to put in more, and a blueberry bush that's just a little thing, hoping for good things. At least the bunnies didn't eat it down like they did before. And the vegetable gardens, since we've lived here, have not been successful. That's a whole other story. But we have had very successful gardens in the past, so it's not like we don't know what we're doing. It kind of, I don't want to say took my breath away, but it kind of did, to hold that can up, because I thought, well, is it going to be Canada? Is it going to be from Mexico? Is it going to be from Peru? You know, where is it going to be from? And it was from China. So it's amazing. It's $1.75 for the can, and it seems to me that a year or two ago, when I could get a 29 ounce or about that size of a can, that they were going for about $1.50 range. So it's not really out of the range. It's amazing to me that they can grow pears in China and ship them here and sell them for about the same price that they would be going for if they were grown here. I'm going to try to make myself a promise to get a little bit more food security going on here, as far as having your source of your food close to home. There are so many things that can disrupt the food chain, food supply. I'm not being very animated making this video this afternoon, because it's kind of discouraging to me to see the orchards closing down and the big chain stores moving in and selling things from China. Now, they have a lot of things that are made in the United States, and I'm hoping that the pears that my friend bought for me today were grown in the United States. But be that as it may, if I want pears, I need to put in a couple pear trees. I'm sorry, it's rude to eat in front of people, but I can't offer you any of my Hershey bar, or I would share it with you. Anything could happen to disrupt that. If you're buying a can of pears that originates a long way away on the other side of the globe, that's not a good thing. I didn't mind it so much when it was a few miles that way, and then a few miles the other way. That was good, pretty good. And it was sad because I could have canned a couple of 100 quarts of applesauce that year, and I probably have some of them still at this point in time, but they are no more. The orchards are no more. So if you have a local orchard, local farmer, you really need to buy from them and patronize them so that they can stay in business, and then have a backup plan and have fruit trees if what you want is to be able to can fruit. Because I can go to my local little store and I can buy dried pineapple, although lately they didn't have it the last few times. I did order half a dozen of them not long ago, but I can get dried pineapple and use that in place of some of the canned fruit that I might have had. And so can you. And you can buy dried trail mix, and you can buy dried banana slices and so on and so forth. However, it's nice to have the trees right on your own property so you have some more control over where your food is coming from. Now I know we all know this, but it really hit me a little bit harder this year because none of the fruit grew, and that none is like zero. None is zero. None is never more than zero, and I don't want to get stuck having zero of anything, whether it's pears or what it is. So my friend got me 10 cans of pears today, 10 spaghetti sauce today. Um, Made a run the other night to a local cheap store and finished buying regular day-to-day food for the freezer. And there's a lot going on in the news right now. It seems like there always is, but there's a lot going on in the news right now. In fact, right now they're supposed to announce whether they're going to do I heard this morning they were going to announce whether we're going to do another quantitative easing. Nice words for printing money, which means they're like taking a deposit out of your funds, your retirement monies and 401ks and savings accounts and money in your pocket, money in your mattress, wherever. It's making it worth less so that inflation will eat up the remainder. Never mind, going too deep here. I guess I'm not totally with it this morning. It just is a little sombering experience for me, and I don't usually, this kind of stuff doesn't usually bother me very much, but it was just a little bit sobering this morning, today, the other day, this week. So make a list, check it twice. You might want to put some fruit trees on that list. You might want to order them now. If they don't deliver them for the fall, they may deliver them for the spring, but if you've got one bought and paid for well, you can get them locally. Maybe you can if you are patronizing your local nursery people. If you order it through the internet, find out if they're going to put your name on one that's actually in stock, that they physically have their hands on, that they're going to send you, because they may ship it fall, they may ship it spring. Done. I guess that's all I'm going to say. God bless your efforts to prepare. Make a list, check it twice, so you can eat more than just beans and just rice. And I really mean that. Bye for now.